Baseball may be known as America's pastime, but sometimes it turns into America's cage match. And no, we're not talking about bat flips or trash talk. We're talking full-blown dugout emptying, bullpen sprinting, hold my glove energy. These are the moments when a single pitch, a bad slide, or just the wrong look can turn a calm afternoon into a highlight reel of chaos. Fists fly, coaches scream, helmets get yeeted, and suddenly, baseball looks more like WrestleMania with cleats. So buckle your seatbelt, call your bullpen, and for the love of Gatorade, don't charge the mound unless you're sure you can fight. These are the wildest bench-clearing moments in MLB history. And trust me, they hit harder than a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Let's start with one of the most recent beefs to go from inside pitch to outside hands. Number 1. Pirates versus Nationals. Sometimes it's not about what was thrown, it's about where it landed. And when Jorge Lopez fired a pitch high and tight to Andrew McCutchen, the whole stadium felt the mood shift instantly. McCutchen took a step out of the box, looked toward the mound like he was ready to deliver a TED Talk titled, "So you want to get rocked?" And just like that, benches cleared. The Pirates stormed the field, and the Nationals weren't backing down. Umpires tried to play peacekeepers, but it was like putting a Band-Aid on a volcano. And in the middle of the chaos, the Nationals manager Dave Martinez got tossed faster than a sunflower seed. It didn't explode into a full-on fight, but the energy? It was nuclear. And speaking of explosions, our next matchup wasn't just benches clearing, it was fists flying, gloves dropping, and chaos in 4K. Number 2. Brewers versus Rays. Now, some benches clearing moments are just a bunch of guys yelling and pretending they want smoke. This was not one of those. This one turned into an actual hands thrown, punches landed, gloves off street fight. And it all started with a pitch that came in just a little too hot. It was the 8th inning. Brewers' Abner Uribe threw one high and tight at Jose Siri, and Siri didn't flinch. He charged. Just straight, you want beef? Here's the whole cow energy. Uribe met him halfway, and unlike most baseball fights, where everyone just hugs and yells, "Hold me back," these two actually threw punches. You could hear the crowd lose it. It was like someone hit a walk-off, but with fists. Benches cleared, bullpen sprinted, and by the time the dust settled, we had ejections, suspensions, and highlight reels that went viral before the inning even ended. And in a league where most fights end with awkward staring contests, this one was a rare actual scrap, the kind you watch in slow motion with popcorn. And if you thought that was wild, wait till you see what happened when the Yankees got involved, because when the Bronx gets angry, the entire league pays attention. Number 3. Yankees versus Orioles. It was a classic AL East matchup. Tensions high, tempers high, and then, boom! Clay Holmes let one slip just a little too far inside, and it caught Heston Kjerstad near the head. I mean, everybody knows that's not just a hit by pitch, that's an invitation to war. You could feel it. Kjerstad dropped the bat and stared down the mound like he had a full HBO miniseries playing in his head. The Yankees dugout popped up like toast, and Baltimore's bench said, "All right then, let's ride." And just like that, benches cleared, coaches holding guys back, bullpens jogging in like they were arriving late to a flash mob. It was all happening. No punches this time, but the energy was so tense you could have cut it with a broken bat. Even the mascots were probably sweating. The umps had to step in before it escalated into an all-out brawl, but for a few minutes, it felt like Yankee Stadium might turn into a boxing ring. Yes, this was all tension and yelling. Our next one started with a slide and nearly ended with a WWE tag team match on opening day. Number 4. Mets versus Brewers. You'd think on opening day, players would be chill. Yeah, no. The Mets and Brewers clearly didn't get that memo. It all started with what looked like a routine double play until Rhys Hoskins slid hard into Jeff McNeil. And by hard, we mean shoulda come with airbags. McNeil popped up like he got launched, turned around, and immediately started barking at Hoskins like it was personal. Benches cleared instantly. There was no warm-up jog, no delayed reaction. Guys came flying in like the fight bell just rang. Before you knew it, there were 50 dudes standing around, yelling, chesting up, and looking for something or someone to probably swing on. No punches actually landed, but the intensity was ridiculous. It set the tone for the rest of the season. The NL is not here for friendship, and opening day is just the soft launch for full-blown beef. But if you think regular season tension is wild, wait till you see what happens when that tension hits October and the playoffs bring the pettiness to a whole new level. Number 5. Astros versus Rangers. If regular season fights are petty, then postseason fights are personal. Game 5 of the ALCS showed tension thicker than Minute Maid Park humidity, and then, boom! The game turned into a soap opera with baseball bats. Adolis Garcia, already cooking that night, crushed a go-ahead homer and gave the bat the kind of flip that said, "Tell your bullpen I did this." Next time he came up, Brian Abreu drilled him in the ribs like it was planned in a group chat. Garcia popped off instantly. Benches cleared, and it was absolute playoff chaos. This wasn't your regular hold me back situation. The game had 5 ejections and got delayed for 19 minutes because everyone had something to say, and most of it was unprintable. It was playoff baseball at its most chaotic, and let's be honest, it made for incredible TV. And another brawl that is made for incredible TV is a moment we have to rewind to, where 2 MLB stars skipped the build-up entirely and went straight to swinging. Number 6. White Sox vs. Guardians. Most baseball fights are just shouting matches with light pushing and a group hug from the bullpen, but this was fight night in Cleveland. Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez were the main event. It started with a hard slide. Ramirez came in hot at second. Anderson stood over him. They exchanged words, and then, boom, Tim Anderson squared up like it was UFC 296. He literally dropped his glove and threw the first punch. Ramirez fired back with a right hook that dropped Anderson to the dirt, and if you think I'm exaggerating, hearing what the commentary sounds like, and for 1 second, the ump legit looked like he was breaking up a street fight. The benches cleared, as you would have imagined. Chaos erupted, and within seconds, baseball turned into a brawl that felt less like MLB and more like a TikTok boxing match gone wrong. Of course, suspensions followed very fast. This wasn't just a benches clearing moment. This was a knockout that had baseball Twitter on fire for days. And speaking of fire, let's throw it back to one of the pettiest, most iconic dugout dramas in postseason history, a Hall of Fame beef between Pedro and an old man with zero fear. Number 7. Red Sox vs. Yankees. Pedro Martinez was pitching like a villain in a sports movie, headhunting, staring batters down, throwing up and in like the strike zone owed him money. Then he clipped Karim Garcia, and the Yankees dugout saw red. Next inning, Roger Clemens returned the favor with a heater near Manny Ramirez's face, and Manny did not take it well. The benches cleared. Players flew out like they'd been waiting for a reason, and in the middle of all that smoke, here comes 72-year-old Yankees coach Don Zimmer, charging Pedro like he was about to hit a spear move from WWE. Pedro just stepped aside and gently redirected Zimmer into the grass. But let's be honest, the image of an old man rolling across the infield during a postseason brawl, that burned into baseball history forever. It was chaotic, emotional, and stupidly unforgettable. And even though nobody got clocked like Anderson versus Ramirez, it was peak Yankees-Red Sox soap opera. Now, that was dramatic, but our final moment is pure madness. A literal bat-to-the-head situation, and it's the one that started it all. Number 8. Dodgers vs. Giants. This one wasn't a bench clearing. It was baseball history erupting into full-on violence. Dodgers vs. Giants already had beef, like decades of it, but on this August afternoon at Candlestick Park, it went way past chirping. Giants pitcher Juan Marichal was at bat, facing Sandy Koufax. Dodgers catcher John Roseboro fired a return throw to the mound that buzzed past Marichal's face, just close enough to feel intentional. Marichal didn't argue, he didn't stare, all he did was swing his bat at Roseboro's head. Yeah, he used the bat like a weapon. Roseboro started bleeding, players jumped in, fans lost it, and all hell broke loose. The fight went 14 minutes, and it wasn't just pushing and yelling. This was brutal, like hospital visits brutal. This was one of the most shocking, violent things ever seen in a pro baseball game. The footage is grainy, the commentary old school, but the chaos is eternal. If you thought 1965 was unhinged, wait till you see 1973, one of the most iconic brawls ever in MLB, where Pete Rose slid into second and a full-on fistfight with New York City itself. Number 9. Reds vs. Mets. This is a wild one. When Pete Rose turned Shea Stadium into a WrestleMania warm-up. So it's the 1973 National League Championship Series. Stakes are sky high, tension is thick, and Pete Rose decides he's had enough of Bud Harrelson's face. Rose tries to break up a double play, slides hard into second, and Harrelson didn't like the vibes. Next thing you know, fists fly, gloves go flying, and both benches empty like someone yelled free pizza. But this wasn't just a little scrap. It got so bad that the Reds actually walked off the field. Yep, the team almost straight up quit a playoff game because Shea Stadium was one tantrum away from a riot. So yeah, baseball might be a gentleman's game until someone gets dotted and the entire dugout turns into Fast and Furious Cleats Edition. If you enjoyed watching grown men in $200 million contracts throw hands like it's gym class, smash that like button, subscribe for more chaos, and drop your favorite fight in the comments, especially if someone actually connected.